Good lord, I'm late on this one, but back in June, the reboot received its second big free update with the Doc Ketchum Murder Circus expansion releasing a few weeks after. The update included a few cosmetics, an overhaul to Boot Hill Island, and oh my god, cheat codes! If you know me when it comes to cheats, I don't believe a Saints Row game is whole without them. Well, in this case, it's like taping a pinky onto a mutilated corpse, but cheats being added 10 months late is better than no cheats at all. And thank God they're free, because if Volition tried pulling another Invincible or Executive Privilege pack without having any cheats in the base game, I could not guarantee the studio's safety. Though the craziest thing about the update is that the entire Murder Circus DLC was accidentally released alongside it on Epic. This was swiftly fixed, but if you were quick enough, you could have downloaded and played the full expansion a month early. Yikes. But now that the expansion has been officially released, we might as well take a look at the full package and see what this $10 DLC has to offer. Okay, so this solo gameplay experience is essentially a new activity that combines elements of Saints Row III's Horde mode with Professor Genki's super ethical reality climax. Doc Ketchum, the madman who runs an illegal battle royale in town, is back with his game new and improved. Unlike the Heist and Hazardous DLC, the map hasn't been expanded for the Murder Circus, rather its gameplay entirely takes place on a reskinned Boot Hill Island. Hold up, let's quickly take a look at the description of the Season Pass. Quote, with each expansion, new areas of the game world are opened up, featuring a wealth of new gameplay content to discover. Each expansion, new areas of the game world opened up. Well, besides the false advertising, it's just odd to think that Boot Hill has forever changed. Whether or not you buy the DLC, this abandoned train factory is now forever a clown's fever dream. Hell, even if you replay the Boot Hill mission from the story, it'll have the new design. Which is even more baffling since Kevin will call you right after to let you know Doc Ketchum has remodeled the island. Anyway, the Murder Circus has you select one of 4 contestants to progress through— Wait, you don't even play as your own custom boss? Let me ask you something. When you think about Saints Row, what are some core mechanics that make it stand out from other open world titles? I'm sure features like co-op and player customization quickly come to mind. So what does Volition do? They make an expansion where you can't play in co-op or use your own custom boss.
That's a bold strategy, Bobby.
Let's see if it pays off for him.
This has certainly frustrated the remaining fans who are still interested in this game, but that must mean the components of this mode are so complex its gameplay surely makes up for the missing features. Right?
2 hours later.
Alright, let's get into this bullshit. You choose one of 4 contestants: Chief Justice, Consuela Reyes, Daniel Lee, or Artemis Vandercuckold. You have them traverse across the island to these 4 caskets of chaos. Each one will start a wave where you'll have to fight a set number of enemies. Surviving rewards you with an additional perk, and you make your way to the next casket. Along your path, you'll encounter rival contestants and dock boxes to upgrade your arsenal. And finally, after opening up all 4 caskets, which will take you anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes, you win the match. And that's basically it. You return to the Murder Circus menu, spend some time in the Boot Coin Emporium to buy some Dockbox items, then start all over again. You discover right away that this expansion suffers from 2 major flaws: delaminization and the use of a Logitech control— the combat and its overly repetitive gameplay. Yeah, we all know the combat in the reboot is a mess, from its sketchy aiming, perks better suited for Agents of Mayhem, to its less than intelligent enemy AI. It probably wasn't the best idea to make an entire expansion that revolves around this one single mechanic. Even with the update to combat from a previous patch, this new mode only highlights its missteps and quickly sours you to the whole experience. Volition at least tried to spice things up by giving each contestant their own playstyle. They have their own signature weapon, perk, skill, and an 8-level progression. It seems like a unique idea at first, and it'll keep you playing for a bit, but you soon realize that each contestant plays so similar to each other that they may as well be nothing more than a cosmetic option. They have the same animations, the same takedowns, the same movement and handling, and once you pick up a single weapon from a dock box, you may as well just be playing the boss. Sure, their ammo is limited, but with how OP they are against enemies, you'll only begin to run out of ammo once you're on the last casket and have 3 other dock box weapons at the ready. The only real significant difference early on is each character's HP. You'll actually find yourself changing up your combat strategy, since some contestants can take more damage and others will drop like a cardboard cutout of Jim Boone. However, as you level up, all the HP more or less becomes the same. Skills are really the only feature that remain distinct throughout the match, but they're just the same skills from the main game, like Transfusion, the Death Blossoms, and the Frag Grenade.
Los Panteros.
Well, Consuela does have a new Molotov skill which can be unlocked in the base game, but it just serves as a reminder that throwables should have just been a part of the weapon wheel. I don't know, I feel like there could have just been some minor improvements to help emphasize the character's traits and identity. Like give each contestant a limited set of takedowns that better suit their personality. Consuelo could have more of the heavy melee takedowns, Chief Justice could have all the pistol executions, give Daniel all the nerdy pop culture takedowns, and Artemis could use all the knife finishers. I mean, it's not much and could possibly make the takedowns more repetitive, but at least you'd feel like you're playing a real character. Also, why not add some character-specific starting skills to the Boot Coin Emporium? You could buy and choose which ones best match the contestants and alter their playstyle to your preference. I could go on and on, but honestly, none of this would help mend the expansion's other biggest issue, its repetitive design. With everything taking place on Boot Hill, the only difference each round is your spawn location and the placement of the caskets and dock boxes. And given the island's small size, you'll encounter every possible variation of these spawns just after a couple matches. As for the rival contestant spawns, they're always the same, so you'll encounter identical scenarios with the same NPCs over and over and over again. I mean, they serve as nothing more than cannon fodder to grind XP and regain health, but still. At the very least, each Casket of Chaos includes a single enemy buff and a randomized side objective to offer just some variety. The enemy buffs include filters such as double health, causing shock or fire damage, dropping a live grenade on death, etc. And the side objectives are basic goals such as performing a set number of takedowns, headshots, and specific weapon kills that earn additional XP and boot coins. Since the caskets can be done in any order, the intent here was to allow the player to strategize which ones to complete first to best survive the full match. Unfortunately, the game mode starts off so easy and only gets easier as you progress that it isn't even a factor. It just becomes a matter of going to the closest casket and completing them as quickly as possible. And it also doesn't help that purchases from the Emporium quickly make the mode go from easy to a game journalist's wet dream. And with how bizarre the game's difficulty is, I found myself reverting to older saves just to keep the gameplay somewhat balanced. This was especially the case for the Beasties perk. It will randomly turn an enemy into an ally for 10 seconds, and there's little you can do but wait till they revert back. It always seems to happen when you're trying to do a takedown to recover some health, so this perk is nothing more than a pain in the ass. What would have really benefited the mundane Circus is having a new location design with the DLC's gameplay in mind, rather than repurposing Boot Hill, which clearly isn't a proper fit. The island's layout worked in the story only because you were guided on a linear path. Here, it mostly feels like a maze. You'll find yourself running into constant dead ends, or even worse, this stupid toxic fog. You'll think you're taking an okay path to the next casket when suddenly this green gas will appear and you'll only have 9 seconds to turn around or fail the match. Sometimes you may jump down to a lower area and wind up in an ass trap with no escape. Oh come on, please no, please no, god damn it! If you do happen to fail, you at least get to keep the XP and boot coins you earned in the session. Which, thank god, because I don't want to play this any more than I have to. I'm not sure if I made this clear yet, but this shit is boring and absolutely tedious. But if there's anything in this mode that will convince you to keep playing, it's that each contestant unlocks a final boss once they reach level 8. For the most part, these bosses are nothing more than a specialist or a regular enemy with extra health. Well, that is except one. Believe it or not, the final boss for Artemis is actually a returning character from the older Saints Row games. Oh man, with so many beloved options to choose from, I wonder who Volition went with. A main saint, possibly a gang antagonist? I can't wait to see who— It's Genki. They went with Professor Genki. Hooray. And that's Doc Ketchup's Monotonous Carnival. I can honestly say without a doubt that this is the worst expansion I've ever played for any Saints Row title. With the lack of co-op, overly repetitive gameplay, frustrating map design, and uninspired classes, I wouldn't recommend anyone spend a dime on this DLC.
I was in a moment!
And after playing the Ice and Dust expansion, it's clear that Volition put all their effort into that DLC, putting the bare-bone minimum into this monstrosity festival while still asking players for $10. Well, you know what? I'll give you 10 fucks, cause fuck this DLC. You know, the shame of all this is that a lot of the expansion's flaws could have been overlooked if you could have at least played it in co-op. And shit, say Volition made this its own separate thing that allowed for 4 players, it could have actually been kind of fun. But instead, you need vast quantities of alcohol or drugs just to keep engaged longer than 1 or 2 matches. I originally planned to dive into the cheats here, but I'm already so late on this review that I'll just say, they're alright. You have 38 cheats in total, with 7 of them returning from the older games. They're also divided into clean and dirty cheats, with the dirty ones disabling both achievements and saves, though this should be resolved in the next update later this month. And yeah, anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Before wrapping things up, I just wanted to thank you guys for helping me reach 100,000 subscribers. It has certainly been a long journey to get here, and I am thankful for all you guys for sticking with me through the good times and bad. I also just want to say that my NDA is finally up and I'm currently working on a video that will explain everything I saw at Volition back in 2019. I apologize in advance if it takes some time, there is a lot that has to be discussed. I also want to give a special thanks to my Patreon sponsors, John, Sam Just, Big G, Gabriel Snyder, Fluffy Tail, Pokedex, David Snoopy, and Davier Rivera. Like always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Do you strain on the pot? Grab a bottle of Doc Ketchum's Foul Buster Suppositories and start your day with a bang!